everyone, it's a bit of a grey morning here on the Thames foreshore, and the tide isn't particularly low, it's about 1.1 metres. But it's wonderful to be down here nevertheless, and I'm hoping that the river has thrown out some historical treasures. So, without further ado, let's go and see what we're going to find today. Now, come with me over here and see if you can see what I've just spotted down here amongst the stones. It's just down there, can you see it? Yeah, it's a spoon, but it's not any old spoon. It's an apostle spoon. This could date back to Victorian times, late Victorian, early 20th century. It's an apostle spoon, and there is an apostle at the top here. They would usually come in a set of apostles. I do love these little nails. For some reason, somebody tell me why. Why do I love them? Something very tactile about them. Right, I've just seen something here which looks kind of exciting. It's not a button. Look, it's just over there by that white piece of chalk. It's just here, look. Let me show you. There it is. It's the tantalising top of a coin. Now, what is it going to be? What's it going to be? Right, let's get it out. Da, da, da. Ah, here we go. Look at that. It's a George V penny, 1918. Great. What a great find. I love it when they poke out of the mud like that. Very tantalisingly. I wonder who last had that in their pocket. Right, well, it always pays to flip over stones. And I've just done that, and look what has been revealed down here. Look at that. Now that looks like some kind of cat badge, doesn't it? There. Again, poking tantalisingly out of the mud. I can't wait to get it out. I can see the crown there, and that looks like a king's crown, if I'm not mistaken. So, oh, let's have a look. Let's see what this is. Wow. I wonder how long it's been there. Oh my gosh, look at that. How beautiful is that? Oh my goodness. Right, let's go and wash it. Let's go and wash it. Let's find a little puddle. Here we go. We only need a little puddle. Look what's right next to it. A lovely, lovely echinoid. Now, I think that's a micrasta, isn't it? A heart-shaped fossil right next to the puddle. Look at that. How blessed am I today? Right, I'll put that in my bag. Let's get back to this little beautiful fragment of history. Oh goodness. Army Catering Corps. Oh my goodness, it's the Army Catering Corps. Now would you look at that? Isn't that incredible? The Army Catering Corps. That is just beautiful. What a beautiful find. Thank you, River Thames. I think it calls for a rub on the jeans, doesn't it? Okay, so I've just seen something which looks kind of exciting over there. I'm going to zoom in on it. Let's see if I can find it in my camera. When I zoom in, I sometimes lose them. Let me see. Right. Now, it's down here. Let me see if I've got my aim right. Yeah, there it is, look. Now, can you see that? Now, what is that? It's got the broad arrow on it. It's going to be a little tag. I was thinking maybe a bottle seal, but probably not. Let's have a look. Let's see what it is. Whatever it is, I love it. I haven't even picked it up yet. Oh look, it is. Do you know what? It is a bottle seal. It's a bottle seal with the broad arrow on it. Look at that, isn't it beautiful? So that signals that it's government property, sort of ordnance property. That must come from, I would say, mid-19th century. But just look at it, isn't it resplendent? What a beautiful find. Okay, I've got something which is a bit mysterious here. It's probably something industrial, maybe something to do with shipbuilding. And I wasn't going to take it because it's a bit heavy and muddy, but I don't know, it's quite interesting. It looks like I should probably clean it up and investigate it further. Here we are, look. The waves are doing a pretty good job actually cleaning it. Now look at this. It's quite nice, isn't it, in a dirty, chunky, mysterious kind of way. Okay, that's going in my bag. Simply because I love these shiny copper nails. Oh look, yes, and yeah, look, there's a broad arrow on there. So that denotes that it was probably used by the military or something naval. I'll clean it up and see if there's any other markings on there. Look at that. I quite like that. It's a good job I've got a big plastic bag in my backpack. Look at those lovely nails. But what was it? That's the question. It's like part of a bottle stopper here. Okay, it's one of our favourite types of finds. In fact, I can also see another one out the corner of my eye. But let's look at this one first. Here we are, look, a little button. Is there anything on it? Oh yes, delight of delights, there is. What is that? Look at this little button. I can't for the life of me see what's on it. There is definitely something on it though. Maybe it's a small military button, maybe it's a livery button. You might be able to see it better than I can actually through the camera. I can't see it. That's so exciting. That will go under my magnifying lamp when I get home. And I can make out something there, and possibly something written around the inside of the button as well. So great, that's exciting, very, very exciting. And look, there's also another little button here, a plainer one. Buttons, buttons, buttons. Buttons, buttons, but that looks like a special little button. Into the bag it goes. This looks like a modern penny. But it looks slightly different. That looks like, oh, do you know what? That is a Hong Kong penny. I've never found one of those before. It's got Queen Elizabeth II there, and yeah, that's from Hong Kong. How interesting. Ah, look what I've just seen there. Straight ahead. Can you spot it? There it is. Look. I didn't even need to do an extraction for this one. And it's still got the mud in it, which is great. You never know, there might be a bit of tobacco underneath that mud, so I'll dry it out and we'll be able to see. There we are, already extracted from the Thames mud, just waiting to be picked up. It's funny, isn't it? In the space of literally a metre or so, I've picked up several small bits of metal that used to be part of something and are now just broken, lying here on the foreshore. There's that. This, which looks like it might have been part of a pen. And this little catch. There's just something lovely about them. And oh, look, there's another button here. Another button, I think it's a button. Well, it's, yeah, some kind of fastening. But all these little bits of metal, they just fascinate me, really. They fascinate me. What's that? A little hoop. I keep telling myself I'm going to put them all together in a little frame, and that's exactly what I'm going to do when I can get around to it. What's this? Tiny little nail. Another curious little bit of metal. There's something lovely about them, isn't there? A little piece of art all by itself. What is that? What's this? Oh, it's a switch, look. On off. It's an on off switch. Oh, I really have to have that. I'll get that great big lump of crustiness off of it. Off. On. That's a great find. I love that. I'm just lifting up more stones, and then I saw out the corner of my eye yet another button down here. Look, and it looks as if it could well be another military one. Here it is. Have a little feel, and yes, it is. Now that looks like a general service button. Wow, I've been so fortunate today and found some beautiful things. I came out to wander along the Thames as I'm thinking about this talk I'm going to give for the Totally Thames Festival on the 19th of September, all about my food related finds. And so it's also extremely amusing and appropriate that I found the Army Catering Corps badge. It really is fantastic. You just never know what you're going to find in the river, but everything's got a story behind it. And that really is what keeps me coming back time after time. Can you see it? There it is, look. It's a button, and oh, the great news is this one is not a military button. Well, that's not the great news, but the great news is that we've got a maker on there. And I always love a maker on a button because we can look them up. I can look him up on Ancestry, find out a little bit more about the maker or the tailor, the outfitter, and it just adds an extra layer of interest. So here we are, look. It's a bit like finding a pipe with a maker on it. Now this one comes from Reigate. Knight and Sons from Reigate, so that's great. I shall look them up later and we'll see if we can find something out about them. Well, I've just seen something quite exciting down there. Let me zoom in, see if you can see it. There it is. It's going to need a very good clean, but it looks like an old key. Let's take a look. Right, here it is. Here we've got this. Yeah, here it is, look. Wow, I don't know if I'll be able to do anything with that, but you never know. I'll have a good go. Underneath there is an old key. I'll pop it in some vinegar and see what happens. There are a few bits of pipe poking out here, and here is one. Let's see if it's got a bowl on the end of it. Yep, we're in luck. It's a nice fluted one. Let's give it a little rinse. There we go. Yeah, that's lovely. That will fade to a nice ivory cream colour in no time at all. And it may even have some tobacco in it too. What's this? Oh, it's from a shotgun, isn't it? Thought it was a gold coin for a minute. No such luck. seen another button, a pretty button, or maybe it's part of a cufflink actually. Could be, no, I think it's a button. Look at that, it's beautiful, mother of pearl. That's a very special button. I'll add that to my pile of buttons, which is growing rapidly. Oh look, we've got a little flatfish here and it's still alive. I'm gonna take it down. I'm gonna take it down to the water. It's okay, little fishy. It's okay, little fishy. Let's get you in the water where you belong. Okay, there you go. There you go, swim away. Hi everyone, thank you very much for watching and welcome to my studio. I can hardly wait to revisit the fabulous finds on the table in front of me that were in today's video. But first of all, I hope that you're all well, that you're all in good health, and that whatever day of the week it is for you, that you're having a good day, a good week, and that all is well in your world and that the sun is shining. So now let's do a roundup of these finds, and it was such a military, naval themed mudlarking outing. And I'm going to start with this curious heavy object here, which I have cleaned up to a certain extent, and you can really see these beautiful nails here. I don't really know what to say about this because I do not know what it is, but I know that it must be something naval because these nails do have the broad arrow on them. So hopefully somebody watching this video might know what that is, or maybe you can make a guess, but let's talk a little bit about the broad arrow first. Well, the broad arrow has been in use over here since way back, going back to the 14th century, but in particular since the 16th century, when it was used to mark objects bought by the crown's money and also to identify objects as belonging to the government. And it was particularly associated with the Board of Ordnance, responsible for supplying ammunition, guns, equipment to the Royal Navy, and that includes nails. So that would explain why a lot of the nails that we pick up on the Thames foreshore, a lot of the old copper nails, do have the broad arrow on them. And again, these nails in this very intriguing object here, they have the broad arrow. And also on that outing, something I picked up which I didn't film because I thought that it was just a long nail which wasn't particularly interesting until I got it home and cleaned it up yesterday, is this, which presumably was a very long nail, and this does have 3 beautiful broad arrow stamps on it as well. So I'm really thrilled with that. It's really rather beautiful. And of course there is the glass bottle seal, which also has the broad arrow, or the Admiralty arrow on it. This lovely seal here. I was so lucky to find that just the way that the sun was shining onto that puddle. You know, sometimes your eye just catches something and it really is such a stroke of luck. It would have been so easy to just walk past this, and I have managed to find on the good old internet an example of an entire bottle with this naval seal on it. So I'm going to show you that. And I do have quite a collection of objects actually with the broad arrow on it, because I do find a fair amount of military naval themed objects. I've got these shells here which have the broad arrow on the bottom of them, and just like all the bullets that we find as well. Also I have a collection of military pocket watches, all of which have the broad arrow on them. I've got this, which is a little different. I think this could be a convict token, and it has the broad arrow with a number on it. And yeah, so I have various other objects, including rather a lot of ammunition with the broad arrow. So it's something I'm particularly interested in, that military history, which is just as well because a lot of the other things that I found yesterday are related to military history, including this rather resplendent cap badge from the Army Catering Corps, whose motto was "We Sustain," and they were founded in 1941 and were responsible for feeding the army, basically, as you would imagine. They were started in 1941 and then they were amalgamated into the Royal Logistic Corps in 1993. So that's a really lovely piece of history, and in particular, as I was saying, it was quite amusing because my head was full of thoughts of food and drink when I found that, as I was thinking about the talk that I'm going to be doing on the 19th of September, so a very appropriate find. Now let's move on to the buttons. We've always got to have some buttons amongst the mudlarking finds, and this little one here, which I was having great difficulty reading on the foreshore, is actually a button from the Napoleonic era between 1803 and 1831, and it's from the Royal Regiment of Artillery, and apparently would have come from an officer's coatee. Now I had to look up a coatee, and it's one of those very tight fitting jackets with the little tails on the back, and so that would have been worn by an officer. So it's a really pretty little button, and it's so interesting how there's such a diverse array of military history from so many different eras and so many different wars. Because the other button, which I found, this one here, the General Service Military button, could have come from World War I or World War II, and actually I've got quite a collection of these. And my favourite one, I'm going to show you here, is one which still has some material on the back from where it would have been attached to the jacket, and I find that absolutely amazing that after all these years in the river it's still got some of the actual material on. So what else have I got here that's military related? Now I've got this little shotgun cartridge. Marked on it is CAC 12NZ, and the Colonial Ammunition Company was an ammunition company from Auckland in New Zealand, so that's kind of interesting that it's now over here in London. So that's that. Now what else have I got down here? I have got a very crusty key. I haven't had time to do anything with it yet, and I realise that I've run out of vinegar, so I need to pop down to the shop and get some vinegar to put this key in, and I'll see if I'm going to have any success in finding out what's underneath all that crustiness. Wish me luck on that. It might just disintegrate, but we'll see. I've also got this very nice on and off switch, which is great. I wonder what it came from. I don't know. Any ideas? It's a lovely chunky brass on and off switch though, that's all I know. Oh, the coins! I almost forgot the coins. So I've got a couple of interesting coins and some modern coins, and by the way, on the subject of modern coins, I'm going to start, finally, because several people have suggested it and I've always let it go by the by, but I decided that I will do this now with the modern coins. I'm going to collect them, I'm going to put them in a charity box here, and I'm going to see how much money I've managed to collect after a year. So I've got my first 5p in the form of 2p's and 1p's to put in the Thames charity box, and we'll see how much we've got at the end of the year. But for the other coins that I found, which are quite interesting, there's the old King George V penny from 1918, in really good condition as well. And then, going forward 60 years, a coin which features his granddaughter, the Queen Elizabeth II, and it's actually not a penny, it is a Hong Kong 1978 10 cents, and it's the first one of those that I've seen. We are now going to move on to the clay pipes. It's really strange, isn't it? The last things on the list, the clay pipes, the poor clay pipes have taken second place for once. So here they are. Here's a pretty standard clay pipe which dates from about 1840 to 1870. It's got a little seam here at the front which would cover up where the mould was. And then another one here, nice little fluted design. I've got a few of these. It does have initials on the spur, a W and a C. And it's a very flouncy little clay pipe design. And I think it does have some tobacco in it, so we're in luck there. So what a glorious array of finds, and like I said, many of them are linked to military or naval history, and there's so much more we can find out about those. And, oh, I've just remembered, I forgot a button. I forgot the non-military button, which was Knight & Sons from Reigate in Surrey, and again I've written a few notes about that because I did look it up. And so let me read you what I found out about it. Right, Knight & Sons of Reigate. James Knight & Sons of Reigate were established in 1885, and they were tailors, costumiers, I'm not sure how you say that, costumiers, costumier, anyway, one of the two, costumiers, milliners and drapers, and they also provided military buttons to the volunteer training corps during the First World War, and so they were slightly linked to the military as well. So a fantastic array of finds from the River Thames on a tide which wasn't even particularly low. In fact, sometimes it's going up to that high tide mark which is particularly fruitful. It's an area that I often ignore, but it's a place where things do get caught in amongst the rocks and things, and so always worth looking. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if it's a low tide that you're going to get fantastic finds. Some of the best finds could be further up the beach. So yeah, thank you very much River Thames for all this, and I've just glossed over them, but there's so much more that we can learn about all these objects. And yeah, somebody tell me what this is, please, so that I can picture what it used to do and where it was. There we are. So now I want to tell you about two really lovely things. In fact, I want to show you them. And the first thing is clay pipe related. Now you may remember in some of my previous videos I have shown you some of the marvellous clay pipes that my mudlarking friend Amanda Speedwell has found. She has a real magical knack of finding rather magical, let's say, clay pipes. The last one I put on my video was one of a little dog, and this one is a mermaid themed pipe, which is very appropriate if you go back to the beginning of the video. She found this little clay pipe stem a couple of weeks ago. It's on her Twitter as well. If you want to go over and see Jamanda's Twitter, it's brilliant. It's always full of very quirky finds from the River Thames, and well worth a follow. But it's a mermaid pipe. It's a stem. It's just a stem, but even a pipe stem can be absolutely fabulous. It's a poor little mermaid clinging on to the pipe stem, looking very, very desperate. And after all this time in the river, over 100 years, finally Jamanda found her and took her home, gave her a bath, gave her a cosy home, and here she is. And I just absolutely love it. Jamanda has some brilliant clay pipes, and we often marvel at each other's clay pipes, so it's great to have somebody to do that with. So that's Jamanda's pipes. Like I said, go over and have a look at her website and also her Twitter account, and give her a follow if you want to see some marvellous mudlarking finds. Second thing I want to show you, which I've had for some time and I've kept wanting to show you and then kept forgetting or not getting around to it, but is this marvellous Barbie or Cindy doll here, which has been made by the very talented Jennifer Kelly. You may have seen her propped up behind me on occasions on my chest of drawers there. Now she is just great. She kind of looks like me, don't you think? Maybe just slightly slimmer. But anyway, she has her little trowel, here she is, and her pink boots. She has a camera, she has a bag, she's got her little pouch here for her camera. She's, yeah, absolutely wonderful. I really love her. But also I'm going to show you all the accessories that came with her, including the tiniest clay pipe you've ever seen in the whole wide world, and little teeny weeny little bits of pottery, little weeny bottles. There's even a tiny, tiny little onion bottle here. It's a little mudlarking tidelineart doll. So thank you very much, Jennifer. Well, I think that's all for now. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you all for your comments and your feedback, your suggestions, your IDs on my previous videos. I'd also like to say a very big thank you to everybody who has donated to my Ko-fi account. Now, if you would like to donate a small amount to my Ko-fi account for a virtual cup of Earl Grey tea, then I'll put the link here on the screen, but absolutely no obligation whatsoever. The main thing is that you enjoy my videos. That's what gives me the most pleasure of all. So I hope that you have a fantastic week ahead, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you again very soon with some more mudlarking outings and some more magical finds from our wonderful River Thames. Thanks, bye-bye.